welcome to Soul Symbols. My name is Shelley. I'm a writer, an astrologer, and a card reader, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Happy Tuesday. It is How to Tarot Tuesday, and today I am, what that is it's a video series. Every Tuesday, every week, I post a video about one of the 78 card tarot. I go in order from Major Arcana to Minor Arcana, and each week we discuss one card. The beginning of the video, we talk about the symbolism in the card in question, and then the second half of the video is where you, the viewer, choose from one of the three tarot decks. The first deck is always the Rider-Waite-Smith. The second and third decks are chosen because the imagery pertains to the meaning of the card, and I select those decks based on what I think best symbolizes the card that we're discussing. But the second half of the video, you the viewer choose the deck, and from that deck we go ahead and do a spread to see how the card manifests in your life. Now, today we are doing a very special card. Today we are discussing the Queen of Pentacles. If you ever want to skip the how-to part, you can always go to the timestamp that is listed in the description box. In addition to throwing the spread of cards to describe how the card manifests in your life, I am going to be clarifying using the Angel of Abundance cards today by Doreen Virtue, and the names and the authors of the decks, as well as the timestamps for the card readings, are listed in the description box below. So if you ever want to skip straight to your reading, please do so. Now, today is going to be kind of a special day. It's interesting. As I film the How to Tarot, it's been a journey. It has been a journey, and it's funny, there are some weeks that I get a little bit hesitant to film, and it isn't because I'm reluctant to do the card. It's just, there are some cards that I really, when I get around to the How to Tarot, I'm like, wow, I read this card all the time, and I understand what the card means, but it's almost like some cards are a little bit of an evolution for me, meaning that I've really fleshed out the meaning, like the meaning of the card in question it's become more and more clear to me over time, and with more reading, and I feel like the Queen of Pentacles is definitely that for me. And it's funny, those reads that I hesitate, the ones that I'm like, oh, I need to do this. Again, it isn't that I don't want to do the read. It's just, it's almost like I have to, I have to ground myself. And I giggle at that because that is a really big meaning of the Queen of Pentacles. She's a grounded energy. She is the feminine, nurturing aspect of the Pentacles suit. And it's funny, months ago, years ago, I kept getting this card. And as we go through the read, I'll explain some of the meanings that really came to me over time. And I kind of chuckle because the Pentacle suit is not a fast-moving suit. It's a slow and steady-moving suit. So it does not surprise me that the full meaning of this card has come to me over time. And I doubt that anything that I'm talking about today is going to be all of the knowledge that I have about this card, because I do think that as I go into the future, I'm going to learn more. And with all the How to Tarots, I encourage you, if you see a meaning here that's escaping me that I haven't talked about, please leave a comment, because that's the purpose of these videos, is that we as readers or as learners, as people who are experiencing this way of reading, that's how we share knowledge, right? So I will go ahead and stop blabbing, and I'll go ahead and get started. But the Queen of Pentacles with the Rider-Waite, you see a woman who is sitting in a chair. She's looking down at a large pentacle, and she has an expression of just wholesomeness on her face. She's wearing a golden crown that has what looks like two birds on top, and her chair is it has arches, and it almost looks very supported, right? It looks solid. The arms of her chair has the images of a Taurus or a bull, and the background you see a very lush garden and a mountain. Above her you see a trellis that is covered in mature vines of fruit. And at her lower corner, you see a rabbit. And at her feet, she's dressed in robes that represent the colors of fall, and she has an expression of contentment on her face. So the Queen of Pentacles, being a queen, we have journeyed past the knight, past the page. The queen energy, queens are always nurturing, right? They're the mothers, right? And you do not have to be a female to be in a queen's energy. It's almost like the emotional or nurturing expression of the suit. And so, first and foremost, the Queen of Pentacles is someone who nurtures in a physical way. This is the mother who knows your favorite food, right? She's the mother who puts a blanket over you when you're cold. She knows. I always say it's the mother who knows your creature comforts. Maybe you have. It's funny. I always tell this story. My sister, when the family runs, she knows all the little nuances of running the house. And like if my brother-in-law runs out of his favorite deodorant, or if he runs out of his favorite shampoo, she knows when it's running low, and she automatically goes and gets more before it runs out. Right? So she's the Queen of Pentacles is very nurturing in those kind of little details way. As the Queen of Pentacles of the Earth sign, it usually represents Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo. Virgos are very good at lists. They usually are that person who knows the little nuances of how something works. And they're also very structured. They like having a system to things. And that is definitely the Queen of Pentacles. She's the person who understands the patterns of things, right? And in that sense, she can be a very good businesswoman. But she's very organized. Right? And she's organized in a practical sense. Like she would be the person who makes sure that everything runs smoothly. And that can be on a family level. It can be in a household. It can be at work. And normally this is the person who kind of has all her ducks in a row, quite literally, right? But she normally is the matriarch of the natural world. With all the physical, and especially with the pentacle meaning physical, and with all the greenery in this card, it definitely means someone who is in touch with the natural world. So it can be someone who's a good gardener. I remember, it's funny, I remember my grandmother, she was an excellent gardener, and she understood. When I see this card, I think of someone who's either an environmentalist, or someone who understands the system of the way humans interact with nature. I'm a little bit of an environmentalist myself, and I kind of think of it like a spider web. If you ever pull on one string of a spider web, it impacts the rest. And I kind of think of it like that. The Queen of Pentacles, or when you're in her energy, it's someone who understands how pulling on one string is going to affect the overall chain, right? And that plays into systems. But more so, she is someone who understands nature. Maybe she's good. She has a compost. She knows how nutrients go back into the ground. Maybe she has a garden and she knows how to grow things. It can mean the sign of someone who's a good cook. And it's funny, I've been watching this cooking show that I absolutely love. And, they talked about an echo. And the echo is when you pair different, the combination of foods to make it taste really good, right? I do also think that she understands the combination. She understands the system. She understands the steps that you follow to get something done, or the steps that you not just follow a recipe, but how to combine things to get the end result. She has a green thumb. Now, the other thing that I kind of see here is because it pertains to the natural world and someone who understands nature, I usually do think that this could be someone who, again, being more of a motherly figure, it can be someone who nurtures children in kind of a natural sense. So in that way, it can be someone who really schools their children and being in touch with the natural world. It can be someone who prioritizes taking their kids to the aquarium, or taking them out to the park. It's someone who likes to go on walks or who likes to commune with nature and makes it a priority for her children. The other thing that I think of is that, again, with the organization that it takes, it can be someone who knows how to homeschool really well, or knows how to teach. Again, with the practical nature, it could be someone who teaches math or science or natural environmental science. I do also think that it can be someone who, because of the nature and with the animals in the picture, I do think that it might be like a den mother. Like if you know of a matriarch who helps lead a troop of either Cub Scouts or Girl Scouts, and again, someone who leads in that way. With the rabbit, I do think it's also someone who's very good with animals. The rabbit is also someone who's very abundant, and we'll kind of get into that with the middle card that I chose. But most of the time it is someone who's good with animals. Actually, I think this is it's not the only card that has an animal in it, but it's more of an earth kind of animal and more of a marsupial, so to speak. The other cards, other queens usually are more birds or fish. And with it being more of a land-based animal, I do see it as someone who's good either with dogs or cats. It could be someone who rescues animals or cares about the welfare of animals. I watch a lot of dog and cat videos, and it always just warms my heart, because sometimes you see the process of women who are women and men, and again, you can be a man in this energy, who the steps that it takes to rescue and rehabilitate an animal. Like if a dog has been like a dog that was homeless, and they rescue the dog. I've seen videos where someone finds a dog on the street, or a dog that was abandoned. Sometimes the dogs that have emotional issues. And my favorite part of that video is they always say they use the same phrase as when they say, when the dog feels comfortable enough, when they feel safe enough, that they come out of their shell, when the dog starts showing their personality. So again, with that rabbit, I just kind of think, someone who either is good with animals. Maybe you have fur babies. Honestly, you have dogs or cats or guinea pigs or anything that, animals that feel like children to you. That's definitely, the other thing is that, the Queen of Pentacles, being in touch with the natural world, sometimes you understand the nature of animals so well, and that is being in touch with nature, right? Where you understand the psychological needs of an animal, and you understand, their needs of needing to get outside, needing to eat the right food. Now, with all the abundance in this picture, the Queen of Pentacles is an echo of the Empress. The Empress also has a very natural landscape behind her, right? You see a lot of grapes and signs of abundance. And the Empress has on her shield, she has the symbol of Venus, which can be Taurus or Libra. So again, Queen of Pentacles, she's almost like she's the precursor to the Empress in a lot of ways. And with the arches and her throne, arches are very solid. They have a foundation. If you've ever seen a bridge that has an arch, it's interesting how the round or bridge kind of like it reinforces, it makes the bridge strong, right? And in a minute we're going to be talking about the solidarity of the Queen of Pentacles. But a lot of times it does, it definitely means someone who understands food really well. As an environmentalist, that's kind of something that I've always been really fascinated about, when it comes to our food sources, the way that food is evolving now, with GMOs and not just genetically modified food, but also cloning and, synthetic foods and processed foods. The Queen of Pentacles can definitely be someone who's very organic or understands the way that, again, that almost like that spider web, what you put in your body, because the pentacles are physical. It rules the body, right? And one last thing on that note is that the Queen of Pentacles is someone who's very big-hearted, and they tend to be big-hearted in kind of a fiscal way. This does tend to be a woman who has the ability to be a philanthropist, a philanthropist. You know, she's able to give money to causes or support causes in a financial way. But the other thing that I kind of get from that is that she can also be she can be someone who's a workout coach. Again, with the pentacles being physical, it can be someone who encourages you to take good care of your body or instructs you on how to be physically fit, and you know, and how to be healthy in a bodily and physical way, and that's eating right, you know. So in a lot of ways she can be a nutritionist, or you know, somebody or someone who teaches you how to work out the right way. The other thing is that she's very warm and generous, you know. The wand suit is very warm, but the pentacles is warm in such a physical way. I always think of the person has an open door policy. You know what I always think of when I see the Queen of Pentacles? I think of that mom who always wants to feed you, you and your friends. Like when someone comes over, it's like, oh, we have guests. Oh my gosh, you know, throw the door open. Here, are you hungry? You know, we have, you know, I do also think of a little bit of the Italian mother, like we have spaghetti, we have meatballs, we have, you know, she always wants to make sure that you are nurtured in a physical sense, like that you are full, that you are content, that you know, that the temperature on the you know, that the air conditioning is, you know, that you're comfortable, that you're physically comfortable. And she's just warm and unselfish in that way. Now, what happens is she is also very resourceful, and again, that kind of goes back into the structures. I kind of think of the Queen of Pentacles when I'm at work a lot, because again, Pentacles can mean someone who's just very organized, and she can be kind of a leader at work. Again, being Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, and you don't have to be sun sign in this. You could have it in other places in your chart, or you could be exuding that energy. Again, you know, you don't have to be the sun sign to be in the Queen of Pentacles energy. And she is very much the CEO, right? And even if she doesn't hold the CEO title, she's a leader, right? She leads by example. She leads by doing. So a lot of times she's able to tackle the task at hand. She's normally very good with money. Maybe she has a budget, or she has a system of doing things. Again, systems are a big thing with the Queen of Pentacles. The other thing is that she makes a little bit go a long way. A lot of times this is the mom who knows how to budget to the dime, but she's not stingy, right? It's almost like she knows how much she knows what she's dealing with, and she gets it all done, right? The other thing that I kind of see is that I do see a lot of school teachers with this, or the kind of moms that are organized at home. Like maybe they have a basket for dirty clothes, and they have they have systems, right? They have a list of chores, and when you do your chores, you get paid for it, and it's like positive reinforcement, right? I also see this as the mom that kind of trains her child from a young age to be ready for the world. And, you know, I think that's kind of an art that's been lost a lot. You know, a lot of times, and I hate to say it like this, but, you know, nowadays we think, oh, well, the child's 3. They shouldn't be able to do that, not right, you know, at this age. And the Queen of Pentacles mom says, no, you know, at 3 years old, we can sing a song and put your toys away. We can have a separate basket to put your toys in. And they, you know, at 5 years old, you can know how to start folding your clothes, you know. And it's not to be strict. It's to help, you know, these are life skills, right? And, you know, if you see a child, you know, barring any, you know, learning disabilities, if you see a child who can learn to play a piano or, you know, a cello at 3, you know, a child at 5, you know, she understands the gradient of learning, and she instills that in her children because she knows that's what's going to keep them solid. It's going to keep them anchored, and it's going to prepare them for the world, right? She does it in a nurturing way. But she knows how to handle obstacles. That's the other thing, is if she's met with a block, she knows how to navigate it. And the other thing that I get is when she learns how to get around an obstacle, she helps other navigate it too. right? And it's again, I'm coming back to her systems. Her systems work, right? So she, a lot of times she's very talented, a very creative woman in a practical sense. She's maternal but nurturing about it, and she's down to earth. Anytime I see the Queen of Pentacles card, I get a lot of grounding. Like, sometimes I get this card when you have to get out in nature, Sometimes you really have to get out there, and maybe you've been I do also see this card sometimes when you get too up in your head. Like, the Pentacle suit is great for offsetting air energy, because sometimes you can get lost in the ideas of things, and the ideas of things are great, but until they have a physical and real world application, they're just ideas, right? And that's the other thing about the Queen of Pentacles, is she can really be the one who says, okay, that's a great idea, but how does that apply to the real world? Can that really work in real world application? So the other thing that it can be is sometimes it's the implementation. Like, maybe there's some kind of new program that you're doing at work, and it actually has to roll out and be applied. And then, so you can kind of see that. It's almost like, it's like the mothering way of getting your ideas out, out into the real world. Now, when I get to the second card, and this is, something, and one more thing with the Rider-Waite. I know the Rider-Waite is the traditional, it covers so much, but the other thing that I kind of see is that this is the woman who is, when you see it next to the King of Pentacles, she is the counterpart, right? It's like having mother and father, but when you see this next to a card that might indicate single motherhood, this is the mother who does, like if you see this next to the Two of Pentacles, or maybe you see it next to the Justice card, or, if you see the Queen of Pentacles next to a page, but there's no king in sight, this really is the indicator of a strong single mom. And I absolutely love that depiction. And actually in the middle deck, the Ten of Pentacles shows just a mother and a child. And I just want to give a moment to say mad props to that, because there are so many women out there who put themselves through school, who work 2 jobs, who raise children, and they make every penny count, and they navigate this world, even though it's really, really hard. And that is a lot. That's the Queen of Pentacles energy, because she does. She makes it happen. And she makes it happen in a real world sense. And she works really hard to do that, right? She brings home, a lot of times that can mean a woman who brings home her own money as well. So moving on to the second deck, I went with the Starseeker Tarot by the Van Mystic, and I actually did an unboxing. So if you ever want to see all these cards, I have it here on my channel. But I thought this was a beautiful card, because this one is so interesting, because you have a book on the counter, and you see a woman who looks very kind of happy. She's kind of got one arm over, and at her feet she has a pentacle and another rabbit, right? And this is what I love. What I love about this depiction of the Queen is that this is definitely more of the more sensual kind of interpretation. And one thing that I said, and especially in the unboxing, is that, the hand touching the face and just that look of contentment, the Pentacle suit is physical, right? And a lot of times we forget that. Sometimes I always say, with her cloak and the way she's all kind of covered, you think, okay, this woman, unlike the Queen of Wands, who you think might be a little bit more amorous, but what you have to remember about the Pentacle suit is it is the physical. And just like the Empress, there are Taurus women, and even Virgo women. The symbol of Virgo is the Virgin, but don't be deceived by that. It being physical, and honestly, Capricorn rules the skin, and it also rules the knees. Taurus rules the neck, and Virgo rules the abdomen, kind of like the stomach. And what you got to remember is that the skin is the most probably kind of it's an aphrodisiac, right? The touch the physical stimulation of having pleasure comes through the skin. It comes through the neck. A lot of people are sensitive in the neck. If you know a Taurus person, usually that is a sensitive area to them. But what I liked about this card is that it kind of emphasizes that. Now, in all three decks, you kind of see someone who kind of looks like they have longer hair. So again, depending on the artwork, you might be dealing with a woman who has long hair. And again, that abundance as well. Abundance doesn't necessarily have to be financial abundance. Sometimes it can be physical abundance, meaning that you are well endowed, and that can mean healthy hair. It can be long fingernails, right? Because, being physically endowed, it's interesting in art, in art, you see a lot of women who have more weight on them. And at that time in history, if you were skinny, if you were like thin, like the models are, that we look to models and think, okay, you're the epitome of femininity because you're so thin, right? But when you look at art, the epitome of femininity was having weight on you because it meant that you ate well, right? It meant that you had abundance, you had food. And that's what I kind of think of when I see, long hair and long fingernails and healthy. And again, the pentacles being physical. So the Queen of Pentacles can be a really beautiful woman who is naturally, the other thing is it's natural. It's not fake nails. It's not fake hair. It's someone who has kind of a natural abundance in some kind of way in their physique. Now, the other thing is with the rabbit, and the rabbit can, it means, rabbits mean abundance too, but they also mean, reproduction. So the pentacles can mean a woman who is very physical and is very fertile. With the book in this, I do think that it's someone who's a good book learner, and again, someone who earns their money by from what they've learned. So this can be someone who's a scientist. It can be a mathematician. It can be someone who put themselves through school. And it's just so beautiful, this imagery, but it just kind of means somebody that really does, she's well off, both in a kind of a natural sense and a financial sense. Now, she's also very reliable and loyal. She's always the person that seems to have all the answers. That's the other thing that I kind of see with the book. She's that person you turn to when you're in a crunch, right? The other thing is that I feel like it's that practical person that when you don't know how to do something, have you ever had that friend that like, hey, I need to replace my shower head. Do you know how to do this? And they're like, oh yeah, or, it could be someone who works in finance. So a lot of times being pentacles, it could be, a mortgage broker. The other thing is that with her own, kind of ruling the realm, it can be a real estate agent or someone who, or it can just be that person again who just understands the practicality of life. Someone who's kind of been through and seen a lot. Being a queen, she's this isn't her first rodeo, right? So it is that person you kind of turn to for advice, right? Who knows how to adult, so to speak. But just like the knight and the page, she's also someone who's very good to her word. This is this person who's unflaggingly reliable. Like if you need something, she comes through in a pinch, right? The other thing is that I kind of think of that mother that, if you call up and say, what I kind of think of is through this quarantine, everybody had been running out of toilet paper, and I mentioned to my mom, I said, okay, in the great grocery store rush, I don't have any toilet paper, and she sent me like 2 packs of Charmin, like the good quality triple quilted stuff, and can I just tell you I'm spoiled now? And it's kind of like that, it's like your mom who's like, oh, you need toilet paper, she's not just sending you the cheapo one ply, right? And I know it sounds so silly, but that's exactly it. And my mom does do that too. She manifests as the Queen of Cups and the Empress always. But and when we get to that card, I'll tell you how. But But the Queen of Pentacles is like that. She seems to know. She always seems to know. She's the one who's sending you $20 when you're broke as a joke and you didn't even tell her. She just knew, right? And she's like, hey, take care of yourself. She makes sure that the little things that you need are there. And the other thing is, I do think it's the mom who spoils you, right? Maybe you have moved out and you're doing things on your own, but your mom will still, peel off money to help you because she doesn't want you to struggle, right? She's nurturing in that way. Now, the last card that I got, and I had to go with this deck, is I went with my Jane Austen deck, right? And in this image, you see Eleanor Dashwood. And I won't go into the whole Jane spiel because I could go on all day for this, and we gotta wrap it up. We gotta get to your read, right? But the Eleanor Dashwood, if you ever get a chance, if you watch the most current, Eleanor Dashwood is from Sense and Sensibility, and if you watch the most current BBC, I think it came out in 2006. It's not, I know that's not current, but the actress who plays Eleanor, her name is Hattie Monahan, if I'm saying her name right. And oh my gosh, she did the most fantastic. And I just think that if you really want to reflect on the Queen of Pentacles, if you ever get a chance to watch that movie, it's absolutely moving. But in the story of Sense and Sensibility, the Dashwood sisters, what it is that their father, and this is in the 1700s, 1800s Jane Austen time, he had a previous wife and a son. And in that time, men inherit everything, right? The inheritance does not go to women in this time. So their half brother inherits their house when their father passes away, and their father married once and had a son, and then he married again and had 3 daughters. And Eleanor is the eldest of the 3 daughters. And what happens is, on his deathbed, their father made their half brother promise to take care of the girls, and the brother doesn't come through. He leaves them with very little money, and they're pretty impoverished. And what they have to do is they have to move out of their house, and they have to find a way to make a living, on very little that their brother is kind of, little breadcrumbs that their brother is giving them to live on. And they're not, they're struggling to adapt to the loss of their father. And Eleanor is the practical one, right? She's the eldest daughter. The other thing is that I do see the eldest girl, or I do see that as being kind of a theme with Queen of Pentacles. It is kind of like being a little adult. It's like being the strong woman, being the one that everybody has to rely on. It's almost like, if you do see this, it's almost like being a second mother. If you see the Empress and the Queen of Pentacles, it usually means a first child who's a woman. And because the Queen of Pentacles is very strong. They know how it's, and in this story, Eleanor really looks out for her middle sister, Marianne, and her younger sister, Margaret, as well as their mother. And their mother is a very practical woman as well, but not as practical as Eleanor. Eleanor kind of sees the hurdles as they come. While their mom's thinking, oh, okay, we'll move to a smaller house, Eleanor's like, Mom, we have to move to a cottage. We can't just move into another mansion. We have to move to a cottage, right? And she takes a lot of pushback. She kind of she's the steady one that guides her mother and her sisters through the changes of losing their father and moving to a new place and adapting to a whole nother lifestyle. And throughout the story, she also falls in love. But that, she goes through romantic struggles. And then her middle sister kind of falls in love with her younger sister, Marianne, falls in love with a very lecherous man who deceives her. And so there's a subplot of there being a lot of emotional turmoil. But Eleanor is the level-headed one, right? She both hides her emotions, but she's in control of her emotions, and she does what she needs to do, both financially, for her family. And she takes a lot of flack for it, too. There's a lot of times that her parents are like, her mom is just not getting, what they have to do, and Eleanor is like the rest of the Pentacle suit. She's slow and steady. She takes every step, and she pushes her family and says, "No, we got to do this. We got to do that. We got to do this." And her middle sister Marianne is actually very emotional. And there's a transformation with Marianne that occurs at the end of the book. And it's really quite beautiful. By the end of the book, Marianne has a whole new appreciation for the practicality that her sister has shown. And in a very transformative moment, Eleanor looks at Marianne and says, do you compare your behavior with his? And she's referring to Willoughby, the kind of villain of the story. And Marianne goes, "No, I compare my behavior with what it had ought to been, which I compare it to yours." Which she's kind of saying, I should have been like you. I should have been strong, I should have done the right thing even when it was hard. But she had a lot of outward strength. And here you see that she's painting, and that's another thing is that I'll just throw it out here, is that a lot of earth signs are very creative. Taurus women in particular, again, they're into beauty. They're very beautiful. They're also very aesthetic, meaning that they like fine things. That is one thing. Women, they like the quality of things. So they'll buy the best skincare, they'll buy the best makeup, they'll buy the best furnishings. So that's one thing that's in the Pentacle suit, is that, they'd rather pay the money once to have the thing that is long lasting than, to buy anything cheap. The other thing about Queen of Pentacles, and I'm glad this kind of bridged into it, so, painting and aesthetic things really appeals to them. They are also very good with music. A lot of Virgos and Taurus women have excellent singing voices. Like Adele is a Taurus. Gwen Stefani and other songstresses have Virgo very prominently in their chart, supporting, like the voice, the Mercury. And actually, as we go along, there's going to be quite a few songs that we kind of reference, because songs just seem to sum up things. You know how the lyrics and music just seem to, they seem to communicate the base desires of things so well, right? And in all three of these images, the base needs, having your needs met, having the money to survive is very important. Now, the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. And anytime you see a card in the reverse, the first meaning is, it always means that it's either the negative manifestation of the energy, or the blocked or afflicted manifestation of the energy. So first and foremost, the first thing that I think of is, I do think of a woman who, I do kind of think of that single mom who is not thriving. It's the single mom who really has to pull every dime that they have to get things done. It's the person who has to work really, really hard. Now, one thing also that bridges into the reversal is that, and this was one meaning that came to me after a long time, is that pentacles are what you value, right? And so it's something of worth, something that has worth. And a lot of times it can be self-worth. And that's something that I didn't realize for the longest time. I kept getting Queen of Pentacles, and almost I kept, every other queen I could understand. And I really felt like it was the universe saying, you need to have self-worth. You need to value you, right? So when I see the Queen of Pentacles in the reversed, the first thing I think of is a woman who works really, really hard to instill value in herself and value into those whom she nurtures. nurtures, right? So I see this with single moms, and it doesn't even have to be a single mom. It can be a woman in a marriage as well, who she does the really, really, really hard work, even though the money is not forthcoming. I do kind of see it as the person who, just because we're poor doesn't mean that, just because we don't have all the money in the world, it doesn't mean that that's going to reduce our character, right? We're still going to conduct ourselves as if we are millionaires, right? Now, the other thing that it kind of means is that I do kind of see it, the other meaning immediately in the reverse is that I do kind of see it as a woman who might be hindered by money, meaning that if you've ever seen the wives that are in a marriage, they might be married to someone who has a lot of money, but they have to, their husband kind of runs the show, or their spouse kind of runs the show. And this isn't to badmouth anything like that, but again, when money comes into play, money pays for your needs, right? And it's where your needs are getting met, but it's under certain conditions, right? And I've definitely seen stories like this. I've seen videos that talk about women who are married to very powerful and wealthy men, and when you look at them, you think they have all, everything, right? Look at them, they've got everything. What do they have to complain about? But sure, they could buy anything they want, but maybe their husband still belittles them or controls them with money, right? Maybe it's a woman who looks like she has it all, but really inside she's a victim or a servant to that affluence, right? So the Queen of Pentacles in reverse can be that. The other thing is that it can be somebody who has a lot of money, but it's really not their money, and they're kind of frivolous with it. I do see that kind of when you look at the news and you see someone who might be an heiress or an heir, and again, you can be a man in this energy where, they're throwing money around like it's, like it's water, and, they might be buying frivolous things, and it just seems kind of superficial. The Queen of Pentacles in the upright is usually a very giving person. In the upright, it could be someone who gives to charity, who's a philanthropist, someone who gives to causes, or, travels the world to make the world better. And then, there are definitely people in the world who have a disposable income that just are very superficial with it. The other thing that I kind of see is that sometimes it can be women who maybe they had a marriage of, not convenience, but they were kind of married to someone who had a lot of money, and that celebrity passed, and then they inherited all this money. So it's almost like they're known, they're not known on their own merit. Again, that self-worth, they're not known for what they've done. They're known for spending the money of the person who left the money to them, right? And there's a lot of musicians, a lot of fashion designers, or, there's famous people left and right that, have inherited from their family. And sometimes if you see that next to like the Ten of Pentacles, and it's the interesting thing is, in that circumstance, sometimes this woman, this person could really be an epitome of style too. It's interesting, when I see the Queen upright, I usually think of someone who dresses really impeccably well. Like, I usually like the style of the Queen of Pentacles a lot. But sometimes when I see it in the reverse, it's almost like, wow, I love her clothes, I love her style, but I don't think that she has any substance underneath that, right? The other thing that I kind of get from this, and actually if you look at the Queen in the middle, is that I kind of see this, especially with this card, as being I kind of call it the bored with money person, right? The I'm bored and rich kind of card. And one thing I didn't mention in the upright is that sometimes the Queen of Pentacles in the upright can really be that influencer that gives you good knowledge. Like, maybe there's someone on YouTube or someone who has a lifestyle channel that really does contribute. Like, they tell you about natural things or ways to live better, right? Which is that's the positive aspect of the Queen of Pentacles. But when I see this Queen, particularly in the reverse, I almost think, again, I think of the boredom, you're rich and bored, is how I describe that. And what that is I kind of see that as being those channels that are a little bit, again, in the superficial vein. The best way I describe it is like, as we've been in quarantine, I was reading a few articles that talked about how to stay, upbeat while you're in quarantine. I'm like, okay, great, I'll read this. I need that in my life, right? And then you read it and they're like, well, take a morning swim, go out in your pool. And I'm like, okay, I don't know about you, but me and the other half in the world have to earn that dollar, and I pay rent, and I don't have a pool. It's like, or sometimes when you watch these, lifestyle, channels, they're like, yes, make, massage your head with this $500 head massage. And you're like, what the, It's kind of like that, in the upright, the Queen of Pentacles could, if she's giving you sound, practical advice on, okay, look for this and you're organic, it's only a few dollars more. Okay, sure. But, if it's, well, buy the $1,000 pair of socks, and you're just like, oh God, woman, okay, that's when I kind of roll my eyes and I'm like, okay, yes, Queen of Pentacles in the reverse. This is the bored and rich woman, right? Either that, or sometimes you see it as the celebrities that don't really, live up to, you see it as someone who hasn't studied, who hasn't, who just kind of, has kind of the less, the not, and I hate to say useless, there is no useless things, but just kind of like the, well, I'm this is how you should live your life, because this is how I live my life, right? And it's just not realistic, right? They're kind of in their own bubble. It's not practical. It's, they live based on their income, not a real man, layman's man person would, how they would live. The other thing that I kind of see with that is, I see this as the Queen of Pentacles as being kind of those pseudo experts and things. Like if you've ever met someone, and I shouldn't talk because I've had, as I've transitioned, I've tried to be an expert on so many things, so I'm guilty of this too. But if you've ever seen the person that, when they're going to college, they want to tell you about what it's like to be a college student, right? But then, they're giving you a tour of an apartment that they don't pay for, and they're telling you, yes, this is how you should be at college, and you're working 3 jobs to pay for your books, right? The other thing is that I kind of see it as like, oh, when they get pregnant, all of a sudden, oh, well, you need to have this type of organic thing for your baby, and this and that and this. And it's all good advice. It's definitely, when it's upright, it's good advice. But when it's in the reverse, it's like, oh, well, this woman had a kid for the first time, and she thinks that she knows everything about it, right? And it's not to say that they don't give you sound advice, but the Queen of Pentacles in reverse is, again, just someone who's spouting stuff, and they're not, again, not in a realistic bubble. They're telling you stuff that you either already know, or that you can't follow because they have a dispensable income that they didn't work for. So it's just kind of like, again, I want to be an expert on this, but I'm not, right? And the last kind of meaning, and again, going back to Jane with Eleanor, I kind of see this as being someone who's not good with money, like not practical, someone who's a little irresponsible or kind of brooding, someone who kind of wastes money, again, kind of does frivolous things. Sometimes it can be a little bit of gluttony, it can be a lot of greed, it can be a miserly kind of energy. And again, with the Queen of Pentacles being so good at systems, sometimes in the reverse, it can be someone who's a little tyrannical, like they have to have things done their way. Sometimes it can be someone who's a little OCD, Normally it is someone who has a very organized or neat home, but in the reversal, it can be someone who just, everything must be in its place. It can be someone who obsessively cleans. In the opposite, it can be someone who's a little bit dependent or a little bit lazy. It can be someone who's a little bit instable or unstable with their finances, in a sense that if they get a little bit of money, that you can't really trust them to handle their own money. So it might be someone who needs help, or you know, sometimes it can be a indication of needing to be a ward to someone. You know, you might in a financial sense, it might be that you need to be put on a bank account to help this person manage their money. A lot of times it can be fear over money, like maybe that you feel like you're going to be destitute, or that it's something is not going to work out really. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a pretentious woman, like just someone who's a little bit bitter. And again, you know, penny pinching. And the other thing is that if you see the queen in the reverse next to like a legal card, like justice in reverse, also if you see her next to in the reverse next to pages, or if you see the combination of the queen of coins and the queen of wands in the reverse, I just kind of have to throw it out there, is that it is notoriously the queen in reverse being money. It can be the gold digger card. And I don't like to use that term, because there's a lot of reasons why a woman might need to, you know, because again, it's about security and it's about self-worth, right? So a lot of times there can be situations, it can be talking about child support, it can be talking about a home that you share with someone. The other thing is that sometimes in this combination, it can be that a woman made the income, and, you know, she might be risking losing her, you know, you can take half an income in alimony, right? But one thing with the kind of gold digger meaning of it is that if you see this like a combination of the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse next to like a king, and if you are a man dealing with a woman in that energy, we just have to throw it out there, is that, you know, with the rabbit, it can be somebody who is out for your money. And I do kind of think terrible. I think of the song, and again, Earth Signs with the music. I do think of the song Gold Digger, where it talks about how, you know, a football player, you know, any given Sunday, you know, won the Super Bowl, drives off in a Hyundai. You know, it can be somebody who takes you to the cleaners financially. You know, the other thing is that it does, when you see that, it can be a woman who is out to get stability from your income. So, you know, the other side of that too is, you know, and especially if you see it next to a wands in reverse, it can be someone who's superficial in that sense. And one lyric of that song also said, you know, you were supposed to be buying your kid Tyco with your money, and she went and got lipo with your money. You know, it can be that, because again, physical and financial. But you know, the other thing is that I do also see it being very strongly, is that I've seen a lot of women who are, their sense of self-worth is completely dictated by who they were married to. And sometimes if you see this next to, if you see the Queen of Coins in reverse next to a lot of negative cup cards, it can mean emotional abuse. And it can mean a woman who can't leave because she would have nothing if she did. So, you know, there's a lot of complex meanings in the Queen of Pentacles, but the most beautiful thing that I see with it is someone who's very strong, who's very nurturing, who is there for her family. You know, most of the time she works hard. She knows the value of money, and she looks after others, and she definitely has a very warm and generous heart. And when you see her, you think of being grounded, being close to nature, and just of being very giving, and, you know, being very practical and, you know, authentic. So guys, so that is the meaning, and gosh, we got into it, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let you choose your deck. We have 3 really beautiful queens to choose from. The first one is the Rider-Waite-Smith, and with it we have a goldstone. The second deck is my really gorgeous deck. It's the Starseeker Tarot by Van Mystic. The third deck is my beloved Jane Austen Tarot with a double pearl. Excuse me, hiccup. We will be clarifying by the Angel of Abundance cards, and I have with it a beautiful Moonstone Angel. Excuse me, I really have the hiccups now. But I'll give you a minute. If you need more time, please pause the video, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're back. So deck number 1, Rider-Waite-Smith. Let's go ahead and see. How does the Queen of Pentacles manifest in your life? Oh, wow. It's really good energy, guys. Let's go ahead and get your Angel of Abundance cards. Oh, very cool. All right. So, in the past, we got Judgment. And what I'm really seeing here, guys, is that I really get a sense that you had a calling to something, right? I think in the past, what that kind of tells me is that, you know, again, being a queen, you know, the queen is a journey, right? You're not a page, you're not a knight. So that energy in your life comes with a lot of experience. And I think in the past, I think you really, you've had you've had a journey, right? You've definitely, you know, you've had ups and downs in your life, and it's almost like I get a sense that the practicality that you have in your present day, and again, this is the root. This is like a, you know, this is the root, the stem, and the bloom. You know, your present practicality you have earned over time, right? And you've earned through your experiences. The other thing is that I'm really drawn to the way that these people are popping out of coffins, and it's almost like you probably had a few metamorphoses, right? You didn't get this practical, and you didn't get this strong or grounded overnight, right? You've had a few trials, right? You've had a few judgments, right? The other thing is that I think that, you know, you try, sometimes you go down certain paths, and sometimes those paths teach you something. But one thing that I do kind of sense with this being a queen and being, you know, of the natural world, you know, her being a queen of nature, is that I think this has been a natural transition for you. Like, everything that you experienced was for a reason, right? Maybe you had a few things. I had said in the intro, you know, it's interesting how I got interested in different things, you know, and I really got into card making. I really got into, you know, writing. I really got into photography, and it's not all, each one of those passions developed a part of me, right? And all of those things together, you know, and again, with her being of a physical sense, it's made you whole, right? And each one of those experiences were a calling, right? And this is the one major arcana in this entire spread, you know. The other thing is that I think presently you are being called to do something now. Like right now, your abundance is coming from something that you are called to do. It's a very big deal. And but I do think that your previous experiences, or all of the little detours that you've had along the way, you know, I know it's such a overused saying, but you know, it's not the destination, it's the journey, right? But I do think that you are going in the direction that you're meant to go. And if you do feel like you were kind of meandering, because the other thing about the pentacle suit is that they're slow moving, right? They're not fast. You are on the right path, right? And even if you feel like you've had, you know, you veered this way and veered that way, that was part of your soul mission, right? And you are that. I think it has taught you self-worth. I think this is definitely you know, your sense of self-worth has developed from all of your experiences. And I do think that you have a calling right now that is going to take you, it's going to give you a lot of, it's going to give you everything that you want, both financially and you as a person, right? It's going to give you a lot of abundance. Now, your current energy, we got the Four of Cups, we got the King of Cups, and then we've got the Six of Cups. These are all cups. And wow, guys, this is pretty amazing. And, you know, we have a king and a queen. I do think that presently, I do think that a lot of, I do think that your experiences are relationship related. I almost get a sense that, you know, the thing about the Four of Cups is it's that feeling of not, you know, you see the cup coming out of the cloud, and you see the man holding the cup there. And you see there's offerings of cups here, right? In each one of these pictures, there's a cup being given, right? And I think I get a sense that it's almost like part of your mission of self-worth is, you might have had a few dings in relationships, and I know, and it's, believe me, I've been there, been there, where, you know, each time you not even quote unquote fail at a relationship, sometimes when relationships don't work out, you totally feel like you did something wrong, right? Like, what's wrong with me? Why isn't this, you know, why didn't I get, you know, why didn't these three other cups work out, right? And then the universe is trying to hand you another one. You're like, no, I'm not buying it, right? You know, don't give me another one. I've already failed with three, da 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 da, you know? And I think what it is I think what it's saying is that these deaths and these rebirths, that is your calling, right? It's, you're not meant to go through a million breakups. That's not, you know, this isn't punishment. What it is that I think by you experiencing this, you're learning two things. I'm getting a strong sense of two things. First off, you're learning your worth, right? You're learning that if something didn't work out, it doesn't necessarily mean it was because of you, right? The other thing is you're learning what you'll stand for and what you won't, right? And that's that groundedness, right? The Queen of Pentacles is steady. She's very steady, and she knows her own worth. She knows her worth, right? The other thing that is, she can get things on her own, right? If she's not being given what she needs, then she'll do it by herself. She'll do it her way, right? And that is true of all the queens, by the way. All of the queens can want a counterpart in the king, but they don't need it, and this is very clear that, if you decided that what's being offered is not for you, then you can be content. But there's a part of this about, it's kind of telling me that these past experiences are teaching you which cup, what kind of cup you deserve. And the kind of cup that you deserve is you knowing your worth, and someone coming up with a cup that is truly, you see how the Six of Cups is really about two kindred spirits, right? It's about two people that feel like they're good old friends, right? The other thing about the Six of Cups is it is really a sign of a soulmate, right? And you can use whatever terminology you want. You don't have to necessarily, I know, soulmate is kind of a new age phrase for it, but it really is someone that is, how in, what is it, in Anne of Green Gables, my kindred spirit, right? Someone that you do have fun with, someone that you really treats you well, right? the other thing about the Queen of Pentacles is she will hold out for remember we talked about how she's about quality, right? She's about quality. And that goes in her relationships as well. If these other 3 cups were not up to par, she is going to decide what, she's going to stay true to her value. And she's going to wait for that person who really does bring her joy. And that's the other thing, is that it not only gives, and relationships are like that. That's the tough thing about relationships, is that they do test your sense of self. And they as you go through each one, you know how they always say, each failed, quote unquote, failed relationship teaches you what to look for that is right? It reinforces what you want in the right relationship. And that will come along. And here it's very clear, you want a very emotionally mature man. If you're a woman watching this reading, you're like, I'll go it alone. I'll work hard. And the other thing is, she's very patient, right? If it means waiting for the quality thing, if it means waiting for the right thing, if you've been getting nothing but emotional immaturity, then okay, I've learned what the red flags for that is. I'm holding out. We can wait for the quality thing, and the quality thing is an emotionally mature man, someone who is very, very reliable, right? And honestly, earth and water are very compatible, so this could very well be like a Cancer, Scorpio, or Piscean, person. But what's beautiful about this combination is that I do think that maybe, you have had a few rounds with persons who might not have been to your level, right? And the other thing is, again, the Queen of Pentacles would never make anybody feel lesser than. But just like all the queens, you're dealing with a queen, right? Don't be a page coming up to a queen. She can't have that, right? But what she can do is say, yes, if you approach me with the stability, if you approach me with the authenticity, you don't have to, I never believe that you have to be a millionaire to approach someone. But if you know what it takes to be stable, right? The other thing is that I do get a strong sense that I think that you are a very practical person. I am kind of getting a sense, I keep hearing be your own man, and I definitely empathize with this. I think that maybe you've had to be strong on your own. Like maybe you really have had to provide for yourself, or you've had to create structures in your life to maintain stability, both financial and, and I really get a sense that what you want is you want someone that you can be emotionally open with. I think you do want somebody who will give you, again, you see all the flowers in those cups. You want someone to play with. You want someone that you have fun with, right? I do think that, money is important to you. But I think you have had a lot of disappointment where you didn't quite get that person that just brings you joy, and that's who you want to. That's the other thing that I'm getting, is that's the type of person, man or female, that you want to build with. You want to have a home and family with someone that you have fun with, who feels like, not just a lover but a friend. Someone who really gets you, right? The other thing that I kind of see is, this could also be an indicator of somebody that from your past, that you've really grown with. But one other thing is that you could presently really be a little bit jaded from previous relationships, but I think you know what you're looking for. I really do get that. And I do think that you'll know it. Like, I get a sense like you're just going to meet this person and you're going to know in your heart that, the other thing is I do think there's going to be an element of fun here. because I see cups being offered. The only thing is I see in the past, there's a cup being offered and you're just kind of a little beat up, right? You'd been around you'd been, you had already you'd just come back from the dead for, a few other romantic experiences. But I do get the sense that you are going to pair with somebody who really, that you feel at home with and that you have fun with, right? Who feels like home to you. And that's the relationship that you want to build. The other thing that the King of Cups is he is like the ultimate marriage partner, because he is just like you are faithful. Like the Queen of Pentacles, very reliable. Like she doesn't squander money. She isn't in it for the financial gain. She's there to help. And the King of Cups knows his own emotions, and when he gives his cup, it's really solid. Like he's the emotionally faithful, and he also makes a very good father. Very nurturing. Like this combination as a parent would be, gosh, that would just be the luckiest kid in the world. If the King of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles got together and had a kid, right? The other thing is that this could be a current relationship, and it could be with somebody that you've known since childhood, like someone that has always been a good friend to you. But that's just one interpretation of it. I really get a sense that you're learning your own self-worth, and the way it's manifesting, you're learning your own self-worth through relationships, and you're learning, you're holding out for the King of Cups, right? And if you're gonna, the other thing is the Queen of Pentacles, just like an investment, she doesn't invest lightly. It needs to be the real deal when if she's gonna plunk down her coin for something, right? It better be the real deal. And the real deal is someone who is faithful, who's emotionally mature, who's like an anchor, but it's definitely going to be someone that she feels free with, someone who makes her laugh and that she has fun with, who is like her lover and her friend. And the future, I'm so excited for this, you guys, is that it's full speed ahead in the future. I really get the sense that if you are single, there's going to be a King of Cups coming through for you very quickly, very soon. Could be happening like now. And but in the future, maybe it is due to world events where it's there might be some separation given what's going on in the world. But the Wands it's almost like it's gonna be real exciting. It's almost like you've reached you've become the queen, and you're gonna meet your king, and it's gonna be that it's just gonna feel like a soulmate. And then it's gonna, the future is you actually getting excited about maybe dating this person, or moving in together, all of the fun things that you've earned through all of your hard work. And again, I am getting a strong sense of self-worth from this. Like your value, and in the future it's just going to feel really wonderful. You look at this, guys, it's right on the parallel. You and your friend, you and your King of Cups is really just going to go forward with all these wonderful ideas. And I really do get a sense of like home and family. It's just all the things, all the wonderful real world things that you value is what you're going to be. It's almost like all of these wands, are those goals, and they're going to be put into motion. Now, this is really beautiful too, guys. It says your abundance angel card is, it's safe for you to receive. The more you allow yourself to receive, the more resources you have available to share with others. Open your arms to receive and be a conduit for good coming to you and through you as it blesses the world. And again, how we talked about, the Queen of Pentacles, she doesn't just keep all the money to herself. She gives back to others. And wow, guys, again, like I said, you have two cups of you have two cards of a cup being given, right? And it's saying, let yourself receive. Because you see in this card, he's not letting himself receive. And here you see someone giving a cup. And the King of Cups has a cup to give, right? So I do get the sense that, again, this is all on your terms. This is up to you. But it's just telling you, if somebody comes presenting a cup, just, try not to let any of these past experiences make you jaded. Definitely this, just open up your heart and kind of feel it out, because if this feels like this person, and again, it might be someone from your past, because I think the universe really wants to give you this. I think you've put in place all of the practicality, and the universe really wants to give you just straight love. It wants to give you some emotional happiness, and it's really going to be, once you meet this person and get the ball rolling, you're going to be really, really happy. And that's a really wonderful read, guys. Wow, I'm so excited for you. That's a great deck. All right, so deck number 2 with our Amethyst and the Van Mystic. This is the Starseeker Tarot. So how does the Queen of Pentacles manifest in your life? Okay, is there 2 cards there? Yes. I'm going to kind of read that behind it. And then, okay, energy. And future. Ooh. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, just for the record, the King of Wands was behind the Queen of Wands. So, whew. All right, I'm going to just keep that in perspective. And, ooh. Okay, and your Angel of Abundance card, please. Oh, wow. I'm seeing some really powerful abundance angel messages with this, guys, and the purple is very similar. I like that. But, wow, and she looks like she's dancing. I'm seeing a lot of synchronicities here, guys. But, wow, in the past, we've got the Page of Swords, the Knight of Pentacles, and behind the Knight of Pentacles we have the Nine of Wands. And I'm kind of reading the Knight as being front and center because it was really kind of sticking. So I'm almost kind of read the 9 behind it. Wow, guys, I really think I think you've worked really, really hard. Again, we just had a tarot on the Knight of Pentacles last week, and actually this card was the one we went with. But you've worked really, really hard to become the queen, right? You've taken, it's like you've taken every step, right? And there's been moments where you've really wanted to give up, but you kept going, right? You kept going. And the other thing is that with the underneath the Knight of Pentacles with the Page of Swords, I really kind of get the sense that there were several times where you just really didn't know. It's almost like there were several times where you just didn't know what to do, like how to go forward. You're a very practical person, and I think you're good at being structured, but I just think that it's almost like, you see with the Pentacles, the swords are an air suit. It's about air, right? And this card is very unique in the fact that each one of these stones is floating, right, on air, right? And it's like an obstacle course, right? And it's almost like we even said it in the Knight, in the How to Tarot for the Knight, is like, it looks like he has to keep moving, right? You just have to keep moving. You can't stop. And I kind of get that with the Page of Swords too. It's almost like, it's almost like you just have to keep on going, even though you don't. With every step, it's like it's a whole new ball game, right? Like, I really don't get. I get the sense that you were not given the manual on how to do anything, but yet you still became the Queen of Pentacles. The other thing that I kind of get from this is with the book being open there, and with the mountains being in the background there. I think you did the best that you could. You learned, you were flexible, right? And I think part of your success, because the other thing is it goes from a page to a knight to a queen, is I think part of your success is that you stayed flexible, but you put the cornerstones. That's a very unique combination. The fact that you can, because a lot of times Pentacles is very plotting, right? But I don't think that you had the luxury of just taking your sweet time. I think you did have to think on your feet. You had to keep moving, but with every step you created stability with every step, and it got you to the Queen of Pentacles. But it was very hard. It was very hard, and you really had to think on your feet. It's almost like you had to keep a beginner's mindset. It's almost like with every step you didn't know. Again, with every step, what do I do next? Okay, I'm back to being a page with every step. But you did. I think you've earned everything. And again, when we get to your Oracle card, um, I almost getting kind of an energy like you've worked so darn hard. The other thing about it being an earth sign is that I'm getting a real strong sense of modestness, right? Because the other thing about this card is, like, unlike the other queens, she's not kind of sitting on a throne. She looks like she's sitting on just a regular chair, right? So I think you're just happy to be, to have gotten to the mountaintop. But I also don't think that you realize, how far you've come, or after the struggle, you don't really crow real loud about, what you've done. You're just grateful. I'm getting a strong sense of gratefulness for where you are. But presently, underneath it, you got the Seven of Pentacles and you got the Two of Swords. So the thing that I'm kind of getting here too is that you've got more mountains in the background, and she's watering her seeds, right? But above it you have the Two of Swords. I think what's happening is I really get a strong sense, guys, that maybe in your career or in your living situation where you are in life right now. First off, I get a strong sense that you're single. I don't get a sense that I'm not getting a married energy from this. But I do get a strong sense. I kind of get a feeling like it might be career related, or, just, it could be, like stability, like where you live, or, having a house, things like that. But I really get the sense that you've come a long way, and you were very flexible with it, and it's almost like with every step you were learning new things with every step, because we have more swords, and the thing is, the page is holding one sword, and then you go into the Two of Swords, right? I really get a sense that you've come a long way. Like, you've earned all these pentacles, right? You got up to the mountaintop and you started planting your pentacles. But I almost get a sense like you're very grateful for how far you've come, but you still have more to go. Like, I almost get the sense like you don't want to have to worry about floating steps anymore, right? And it's almost like, again, the Seven of Pentacles is that reevaluation card. It's like, okay, I've come this far, I've got this much so far, and how can I make it grow? Is it growing the way that I want it to grow? And above that energy of evaluation, like, okay, where do I go from here? You've got the Two of Swords. And the Two of Swords is really that head over heart energy. It's like, I really get the sense like you feel like there might be another path that you want to take, but the path that you've already taken was a challenge enough, right? And it was hard, right? You've come a long way, and it's almost like, okay, do I build on that existing foundation, or do I get off the chair and go somewhere else. And the other thing is that book is really speaking to me. I'm almost getting a sense like you're wondering whether or not you should change careers, maybe change employers, or it might not be as drastic as that. It could be just, okay, it could be an evaluation of your needs in life. Like, okay, I've come this far, I'm still renting, I want to own a house, or I'm in this position at work. Is this where I want, is this where I want to be? I'm single. Do I want to be married? Do I want to have a family? And it's almost like you're kind of torn. It's like, okay, do I stay? I've come this far and I'm here. Do I want to stay here a little bit longer and let these pentacles grow, or do I want to move the pentacles? What do I want to do? And you are kind of in that kind of limbo space, right? You're still figuring it out. But I do get a sense that you're grateful for where you're at. You're grateful for, you've learned a lot, right? And you've come a long way. You've come a long way. I do also get a sense of self-worth from this, because that's the pentacles, and I get a sense of abundance. I do think that you've earned a lot. Where you are right now is not a bad place to be, but it was a challenge to get there, and right now you're just kind of torn. The other thing is that the Queen of Pentacles is a slow-moving energy, and the Swords is a faster, more mental energy. So, whether or not you stay and continue to water the pentacles where you're at, or whether or not, you mentally decide to do something else. But I do think that you're in a stalemate, right? You don't know what to do, right? The other thing is, coming from a Page to the 2, it's almost like you don't want to do anything frivolous, right? You don't want to do anything rash, but doing something different might actually be good for you, right? The other thing that I'm getting is that all this structure, all these plotting steps, they were good for you. They gave you a foundation, but they weren't, I don't think it was, all that caution probably didn't make you feel very free, right? The other strong energy that I'm getting is that I'm just getting a sense like you haven't accomplished everything that you wanted to yet. And in order for you to accomplish, because it's life, you have goals, right? Um, if you're of a certain age and you're still not married and you really wanted to be married and have a family, that's going to be a thing where it's like, am I going to stay here, or am I going to go after that goal? Do I still want that goal? It's kind of like thinking like that. But I do think presently you're just grateful for where you are, and I do think that you're pausing. I think you're doing a bean count right now. You're evaluating where you are right now, and you're grateful for how far you've come. But you are at a little bit of a stalemate, right? You don't know you don't know if you're going to try to do something different, something faster moving forward, or if you're just going to let your pentacles grow where you are at. Now, the future looks really, really bright, guys. This is really kind of neat. And the other thing is that the King of Wands really wanted to come out, and the King and the Queen were together, right? That's a really handsome king. I like the beard. But what I see in the future is that I see the Queen of Wands and the Three of Cups. And wow, guys, and honestly, with the king nearly popping out there, I really wonder if the Queen of the Three of Cups is a celebration, right? It's like a partying. It's feeling, it is. It's a celebration of something, and with the Queen of Wands being underneath, I almost get this sense like you really got your financial stability in place, but in the future, you're manifesting as the Queen of Wands. So I think in the future, and she's kind of sitting in a tree there, and I'm really drawn to that tree imagery because that's very grounded, right? You have roots, right? I do get the sense like you're gonna be doing something really dynamic moving forward. Maybe you're gonna start doing something really creative. Maybe you will switch gears, because the other thing is that, Page of Swords is holding one sword, Two of Swords is holding two swords, and then you go to Three Cups. I do think that in the future there's going to be some kind of something that, honestly, if you are single, like, again, if it's like a goal of meeting somebody, I almost get the sense that you might meet somebody in kind of a group environment. Maybe you're invited. I mean, it might not be now, because again, this is future energy, and given the status of where we are in the world, but who knows? It could be digital. There's quite a few people I've heard of that have met people through Zoom calls. But I do get the sense of some kind of like coming together. The other thing is, maybe, this could be work related, or some kind of gathering that has to do with what you do currently, that introduces you to someone. And again, the Queen of Wands, she's a very free person. She expresses herself, and she's has a vivacity for life. Like, I do get the sense that you're going to be opening up to more than just, paying the bills, and, earning the good salary and doing what you have to in the practical sense. I really get the sense that you're really going to let yourself shine, and either, this might be, I really almost get a sense that you might actually be able to do something career-wise. Like, I think you will keep your stability, but you'll actually get a chance to do something that really makes you feel alive. And the fact that we have a king and queen, I do think that it's more of a couple, and it's going to be a real celebration. It's going to feel good. It's going to just, feel like a party. The other thing that I kind of get from this is, it's quite possible that maybe you do something on the side, like, again, it could be a YouTube channel, it could be on TikTok or something like that. Maybe you're an influencer, and this kind of, because the two can also be two, a duality. Maybe you were doing kind of two things, day job, and then, something on the side that really gives you personal expression, and you get to be around other people, and it's like your tribe, right? It's like your tribe. But I do kind of get a sense, like, you might, it being the king and queen of wands, you might meet your counterpart, and, through a group setting, on with shared interests, and that's just going to kind of complete your world, right? You have the stability in your life, you have the financial foundation, and then in the future you actually have the personal expression that makes you feel really happy and alive. Now, the card that you got is, you got deservingness. You are a beloved child of God. Like everyone else, you deserve to receive the support that will allow you to focus upon your divine life purpose. Even if you can't yet recognize your lovable qualities, trust that God and the angels can see how amazing you truly are. And guys, I think it's kind of telling you that, in order to be safe in this world, you don't have to be all practical all the time. If you have a purpose, if you have a skill, maybe you like to act, maybe you like to create things, I really get a sense, I'm getting a strong group environment, like you will, again, like your tribe. And it's almost like you will get all of your emotional fulfillment and your personal expression, in addition to having your physical needs met. But it's almost like a sense of knowing that you deserve it. And that's a Queen of Pentacles concept, because self-worth, right? I know my worth. I know my value. But that's a really beautiful future, guys. And seriously, look at this. Here, I'll go ahead and pull them out again. You both have cats. That's so cool. Maybe this person that you meet has a cat. I don't know. But that's a really beautiful message, guys. And that's a gorgeous future. That really is. And the Three of Cups can also mean, you know, a trilogy there, you know. But wow, guys, that's a really beautiful energy. All right, so last but not least, we've got my favorite, Eleanor Dashwood, the Lady of Coins. So let's go ahead and see, how does the Lady of Coins manifest in your life? Ooh. Okay, the Magician is kind of popping out there too. And then in the future. Okay, and let's go ahead and get your Angel of Abundance cards. Oh, that's really cool. I'm so glad. That's really kind of cool. I was looking at your Eight of Teacups and I was kind of like, you know, ooh, sorry, we're out of focus there. All right. So in the past, we got the Three of Candlesticks. And what this is, and you actually see three masts of three different sails. And what this is Frederick Wentworth. He's Captain Wentworth from Persuasion. And what this shows is it shows him with the globe, which I think is really great. I see in the past that you've really been on a journey, right? It's quite possible that maybe you needed to travel or maybe move around a lot to in your career. Maybe again, with it being the Lady of Coins, it's like being stable, being in one place, not really moving anywhere. I think in the past that maybe you've really wanted more stability, but in the past you almost had to, you know, the Three of Wands is really about waiting for your ships to come in, so to speak, but it is also about the progression of something. So I think in the past you were really working towards, you know, and you were working towards your stability. This could be in a work sense. Maybe you were put on different projects. Maybe there was some kind of nature of your job that required that you kind of move around a little bit. But the beauty about the Three of Wands is it really is about, it's about being a leader, right? The thing about the Lady of Coins is that she leads by example, right? The other things is that this is a very the Three is a progression, right? The Ace is an idea, and an ace can go nowhere if, you know, an idea can fizzle out, or it can grow into the two and then into the three. The fact that the idea got as far as a three kind of means that it's progressing. You're going places, right? You're going places is what I'm hearing. And so in the past, you really did. The other thing is that I do kind of get a sense of, you know, with the uniform and the globe, it's almost like you were put on a little bit of a mission, right? And he is a captain, right? So I do get the sense like maybe you really have led people, and you've had to navigate. I'm thinking you've had to navigate a few situations, and it could be, you know, this could be work related, where you know, maybe you've been with an employer for a long time and they've had you on several different projects and you've really shown that you can do things. Maybe, you know, maybe you've really had to lead people. And again, the thing about the Three of Wands is Three of Candlesticks is also that sometimes your practicality and the way that you organize things could really have been the, you know, of service to your employer or your family. I am getting kind of more of I'm getting a really strong work vibe with this. I know this is Jane Austen. Actually, that's really great because normally the Jane deck kind of gets real over the top romantic every single time. But here other than, even with the cups here, I'm not seeing, I'm not getting a romantic, I'm not getting a relationship vibe from this. It's kind of awesome to read it this way. But yeah, I really get the sense that, the other thing is that, with military, sometimes you can really prove yourself when you're put on a mission. Again, maybe you started off as a corporal and then you moved up the ranks. There you go. I'm getting a strong sense of moving up the ranks. And I think that you moved up the ranks on your own merit. Like, you knew. The other thing about the Three of Wands is that it's very unpredictable, right? But you navigated situations with your practicality and your systems. I'm really getting a strong sense that you knew the right thing to do. Like, you got promoted to captain because of your leadership, but also because you knew what to do, and you learned the ropes. I'm hearing you learn the ropes, right? And so, the other thing with the three is that it really is that person who, the person who's not an admiral, who's given, you started off in a smaller role and you worked your way up, and other people follow you because you're reliable, right? This is the person who comes through in a pinch. The other thing that I kind of get is that you know how to, I really get a strong sense that you know how to look after a team. Like, you know how to look after others, right? Because a captain leads others, and he would never command anybody else to do something that he would not do himself, and that's just a lot of integrity, right? So I am getting a strong work vibe from that. Now, your present energy is really quite amazing, because you got three major arcanas in this, and that's a big deal, right? But your current energy is, you got the Magician and you got the Hermit. And I love it because both the Hermit and the Queen are kind of sitting in a drawing room, sitting in a library, right? So the Magician is, wow, guys, I really get the sense like you've really come a long way. A lot of this, the first deck was very similar. I think you've kind of worked your way up the ranks. Again, you're not an admiral, but you're a captain. So you've definitely proven you've proven yourself to be reliable. And I think right now you are. It's almost like you have a moment to breathe. Like, I think that you're in the position that you're in and you're comfortable. I think the other thing about Frederick Wentworth is that when he came back from the war, he had money, right? Like, he acquired money through his travels through. So I think that you've come to a level of wealth that you're comfortable, you're stable, right? And I think you've also you've created a good reputation for yourself as being someone who's reliable, has good structure, and knows how to lead by example. And I think currently what it is it's almost like with the Hermit, you're taking a break. Like, maybe I get the sense that you're still in the same position, like, right? Like, you're still a captain, but you're kind of reflecting back on what you've done. This almost kind of looks like the same person, right? He's kind of looking, thinking back on all of his adventures and what he's done. And I think you're really kind of deciding what you want, where you want to go. And the Magician really kind of speaks of you having this being your time, right? I really get the sense like this might be your time to decide where you're going next, right? Because the other thing about the three is, when those ships come in, and I think what it's doing is you're deciding, okay, I'm comfortable. I've come this far. I'm earning what I earn, and I do think that she's content with her life. But it's almost like, again, with the magician has all of the elements on the table before him, right? He has the pentacle, he has the sword, he has the cup and the wand, and he can go with those elements. He can create the future that he wants. It's all up to him. But the Hermit is like taking a time out. It's like it's like stopping to think about how far you've come, what you've experienced. It's pulling within, right? And the Lady of Coins is very much about that energy, because she doesn't just rush ahead. Again, she's of the Pentacle suit. She wants to know that where she's going is going to be the destination, the direction she wants to go. The other thing is, it's kind of like deciding, what do you want, right? Okay, you're here now. What do you want? You can have anything that you want. It's almost like being not really a fork in the road, but it is kind of like being in a place where you pick where you go, where the future takes you, right? And I am kind of getting a sense that, you do also reflect on the thing about the things about this past energy is, I'm not getting a strong sense of real clear cut steps. Right? You see 3 boats, right? And boats can drift. Boats, if they get off course, they can go anywhere. I do think in the past that you've probably, in the past, you may not have had a real clear cut direction. And and again, being in the Queen of Pentacles energy, she wants stability, right? She wants to know where she's going. And I think you're kind of reflecting on that. You're kind of saying, well, do I want more of the adventure that I've already had? Because this was, okay, put you on a boat. Did you captain the boat? Yeah, you did. You did good. Okay, here's your promotion. But it's almost like you're looking back at that and thinking, okay, is that how I always want it to be? Do I want it to be more clear cut than that? And it's, you have all the elements on the table. You could create a different future if you wanted. The other thing that I'm kind of getting is that I do get kind of a sense of there being more of a kind of a real world mission here with the uniform and the globe, and then her doing artwork here. It's almost kind of like, again, this is more functional and this is more artistic. And I'm almost hearing like, okay, do I want to continue to do this? Because yes, it's unpredictable, but it's very regimed. The other thing is with military, it's following the rules. Maybe you do want to do something that's different, right? Now, in the future, you've got strength, and you've got the 8 of Cups. And that's a very unique combination, because it's almost like, strength is traditionally the maiden holding open the lion's mouth, right? It's resistance and it's force in balance, right? It's controlling a base nature. And what you'll notice is you do also see boats in the background here, right? And what I'm kind of sensing is that I do kind of get a sense of, the other thing is that these 2 characters are from Mansfield Park. It's Fanny Price. And here you have Fanny leaving Mansfield. And you see, actually, this is amazing, guys. You see there are, as she's leaving, you see boats in the background, right? She's leaving where the boats are. So, yeah, guys, I do get a strong sense that it's almost like, I do get a sense that you enjoy what you do, right? You enjoy what you do, but it's almost like you saying, okay, looking back on your previous experience with this, I keep hearing tour of duty, right? You know how when you go off on a tour of duty and you decide, okay, God, do I want to do that again? I got through it. I did great. I did a good job, but is that what I want to do every single time? I'm almost kind of hearing like, do you want to take a desk job, right? Maybe you want to take a desk job. Maybe you don't want to do something so physical anymore, or, maybe you know how when you're good at something, you know how to do something, but it's really not, it doesn't fill your heart with joy, but you know how to do it, and it's a good way to make a living, right? So it's almost like you thinking, okay, I'm almost getting a strong sense of like, okay, do I want to do this for the rest of my life? And I do think that it would take you a lot of strength to walk away, because you do enjoy what you do. It seems like it's almost kind of exciting. It's kind of exciting, but it almost, I'm getting a strong sense that what you do now is exciting and it pays you good money, but maybe it's not offering you the stability that you want, or again, you don't know if you would be able to do it indefinitely. And if you need to change jobs or switch tracks, that you need to do it now, because again, the Queen of Pentacles is a planner. She doesn't just say, okay, let me wait until I'm 50 to decide I want to do something else with my career. She says, okay, well, if I still want to have this career path, I need to do A, B, C, D, right? But I do think it would be hard for you to leave whatever it was. It could very well be a job that you didn't expect to turn into a career. And, now that you've done it for so well and for so long, that actually leaving it. Because the other thing about that's really standing out to me is that Fanny Price came from, she was sent by her parents to live with her uncle, and she spent like a good 10 years, like her youth growing up there. And then she went back home. And that's where I'm getting strength and Eight of Cups as being that transition. Like, okay, again, it would be hard for you to leave, because it's what you're good at, it's what you know, it's what you've been raised to do. But you know, we all have those moments in life where just because someplace is comfortable doesn't mean that you have to stay there forever, but it does kind of is bittersweet to leave it, right? You have good memories. The other thing is that it could quite possibly be like that kind of promotion where you have to go to a new building, but you don't work with the same coworkers anymore, or it would mean, leaving what you know, and that would be really hard, right? But it would give you an opportunity to do what you want to do, or to grow. Now, your card, you got moonlighting, and wow, this is really plays into this, guys. You can start working on your dream career part-time while keeping your other job to pay the bills. Soon your dream career will take flight and fully support you. And that is what I'm talking about, guys. Like, look at this. Like it would take a lot of strength. Again, it would take a lot of strength. But you could. Maybe you are doing something, in your spare time. And I really am. I'm seeing, again, I'm seeing this more tactile kind of regime thing, and then I see you painting here. Yeah, it might be that. It might be that, that you're the other thing that I'm kind of getting is that maybe with this magician energy, maybe what you're doing, because it's right under the painting, maybe you start doing something in your spare time and it really starts to take off, right? And it's almost like if you're going to continue doing that, it would mean, foregoing the 9 to 5. But that would be hard. It's not that you don't love what you do, it's just you can't do both, right? And but that's really beautiful, guys. And there's a lot of peace in this too, because I'm seeing, first off, it's got daisies, and I love daisies. And the other thing is you got doves of peace there. I do think that you would be, and honestly, kind of looking at her bonnet here, and then looking at the halo of daisies, I do think it would just make you so happy, whatever it is. But I do think the other thing that I'm kind of getting from this is I think you would be very practical about it, because the Queen of Pentacles, she doesn't do anything crazy, right? And she's not going to quit the day job unless she has something very, stable to go to, right? So she's gonna do the right thing. But I am getting a little bit of a calculated risk from this, a calculated risk that could really pay off. But I do get a sense of it being a little bit bittersweet. Like you might have to leave something that you know how to do really well. But wow, guys, oh wow, I knew this was going to be a powerful read. The How to Tarots do always run a little bit longer, but you know, you can always skip straight to your reading. But the Queen of Pentacles, wow, you can see it's a powerful card. It's a powerful card. It's, you know, it's about practicality and value and worth and dignity and just really a lot of generosity and you know, and again, I'm learning. Every single time I see these cards, I learn something new, and that's, you know, that's the beauty of it. But I hope the messages resonate, and I hope you enjoyed. I really got a kick out of using the Angel Oracle cards, and I'll definitely be using Oracle cards with each of the How to Tarots moving forward. I hope you can join me again on Saturday. I will be doing the weekly energy card reading. But in the meantime, I hope you have a good week, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.